Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Theresa Cantley. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. All right, thank you, and welcome back to another episode of the C-Suite Mentor podcast. I am your host, Theresa Cantley, and I am joined by a special guest today. I'm trying to think, I don't think I've had somebody from the accounting world it's been a long time. I think the last person I had on was my friend, Dr. Ranelli. So this is going to be a good conversation because I do get asked a lot of questions with my clients because everybody seems to be afraid of numbers. Everybody talks about accounting like it's like black magic or something. So,
and it doesn't help that most accountants don't know how to talk plain English back.
No. And I think that's part of the problem is that people they talk to an accountant and an accountant talks with these long, words and creates a word salad out of everything. And then everybody's all afraid to have a conversation or afraid to even, ask a question. So I think this is going to be a really, really amazing conversation for people because you do have a way of talking about these things and getting people to understand them in a way that they can actually implement it into their business. So I am super excited to have Danielle Hendon here. Danielle is a former corporate accounting professional. We're going to talk about that when we talk about what she did. Turned fractional CFO. Danielle brings a calm, practical voice to financial strategy for small business owners. So important. She helps entrepreneurs align their vision with their day-to-day operations, not just through mindset shifts or systems, but by deeply understanding the financial side of the business and making it work for their life, team, and goals. Thank you so much for being here, Danielle. I'm excited for this.
I am so excited. If all that we do here is get somebody to actually look at the numbers, that's a win in my book. So every chance I can get to talk about it and make it feel a little less scary, I'm taking it.
Awesome. Well, we're just going to go right in and we're going to dig into the conversation. Tell me a little bit, because I came from corporate and I've had a lot of experience with forensic accounting and audits and all kinds of fun stuff. Not really. So tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us a little bit about why did you leave corporate? What did you do in corporate? Why did you leave? How did you get started with your business, Four Corners CFO?
I love to take everyone back to the beginning because it's kind of fun and funny. I didn't actually start thinking that I was going to be an accountant. I went to college to be a music major. And I had a professor that had us write all about the future of our career. And I realized very quickly, I don't have friends in high places, and I think I'm going to be broke. So instead of becoming a singer, I did have friends in the business school, and I was like, let's go try accounting. Why not? Did it, loved it. There's this weird correlation between music and numbers that seems to exist with a lot of people. And I'm just one of them. Hindsight being 2020, my family and friends are always like, I don't know how you didn't know that's where you were going to end up, but okay. So like most people do with the accounting degree, I got my master's, got my CPA, did some time in public. But then I started a family and I realized I didn't want to keep working public accounting hours with a newborn at home. So while I loved what I did, and I would argue I was partner track until that point, having a newborn changed it all. I am in the Houston area, so most of my experience up until then, even through the audit world, was oil and gas. When I
Oh, wow.
left public, I landed at an oil and gas company in downtown Houston. Not any of the majors, but they were pretty well known here and had a wonderful leadership team that came from well-known other mid-market oil and gas companies. Loved what I did, loved who I worked with. I was there for about a decade. But when oil prices tanked, they went through bankruptcy and they came out the other side, owned by bankers who started to slice and dice.
Mm.
And then the pandemic hit, and it became really obvious that they were going to close their doors.
Wow.
So I'm not going to lie, oil and gas takes care of their people. I knew there would be not a golden parachute, but a parachute of sorts that we would have to figure out what we wanted to do next. And I took a really big step back. I had, like I said, for 2 years between when they went through the bankruptcy and when COVID hit, as the head of the audit department, I was the one the controller would call and be like, hey, I'm down to 2 people. I can't do it the way we wrote it before. What do you want me to do? So we were rewriting processes over and over again as everything started getting smaller. And I thought about this during kind of that COVID period when, I will also be honest, was a completely different perspective and shift in mindset for me. I never want to take away from what people went through at that time because I know it was a horrible time for a lot of people. But I think all of us can admit there was this silver lining of completely slowing down in the world. And we are not a slow world right now. We weren't
No,
before that. But
no,
I went
not at all.
I went from being workaholic mom, because when you love what you do a lot of it. And at that time we had 2 kids. We have 2 kids now, but we had gone from the 1 at public to 2. And we were interviewing nannies to get them to and from their stuff, because that's what you do when you're in corporate. And then when COVID hit, I became part teacher, part coach, getting to know friends and swim coach and teachers and parents and this whole other side of parenting that honestly I hadn't done before. And I realized I didn't want to give that up. And I wanted to find a way to do what I love, because I know people think I'm crazy, but I genuinely love what I do when it comes to numbers and processes. And I wanted to be able to do that and also be there for the people that I love. So I took a leap of faith. I had a business owner friend of mine that knew another fractional CFO and connected us. And she gave me the like, rah, I'm from audit too. You've got this. And I went for it. And I built 4 corners, not just for me to find that flexibility and that kind of family core value, but to help other business owners do it. And now that we've grown over the years, I get to help other accountants do it. And you don't have to be in this work hard, play hard, hustle culture that is very dominant in accounting. You can be really, really good at what you do and do it 20 hours a week if that's what you want.
Totally. So I love that you had, and let's go back to the pandemic. I mean, yeah, it was a terrible time and a lot of people had a lot of struggles with it. But as you said, the silver lining, it did force a lot of people to slow down. And I think it pushed, as you said, it pushed a lot of people who were willing to listen that, wait a second, like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? What's going on here? And I loved that you were saying that, you had that internal, like you felt that internal like pull to say, wait a second,
There's got to be a better way.
there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way. And wow, like I'm missing out on all this stuff in life. And, and I'm sure you deal with people every day who are on that hamster wheel.
Yep.
I know
Even
I do.
business owner. Business owners wear all the hats. By no means am I saying starting a business was easier than being an employee. It absolutely is
Sure
not.
it is. Just kidding.
But it takes having, and I'm sure you see this with your clients, it takes having a partner saying, okay, you've put everything else first. I want you to put you first. And how do we do that? And we do that with our clients from a profit perspective. And are you paying yourself? Are you paying profit distributions? Are you hiring people so you're not working at midnight? Like giving them the confidence to take the steps they know they need because we can ground them in budgets and finances and it really looks okay on paper. It makes so much difference.
It's funny that you brought up like with clients and, people focusing on budgets and focusing on the thing I think that you do well is because so many people think, I need to do this. I'm an entrepreneur, so I need to have a budget. I need to look at what's in my bank account and manage what's in my bank account. But I think what you do so well is to explain to people, okay, this is what a budget is, but here's what you need to do with it.
Yeah.
And maybe you don't necessarily need to do this right now, but here's when you're going to do it.
Yep.
So you put that practical, it's like real life. Like you blend that with, okay, like this is the high level finance that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where the magic can happen.
And they don't even have to look at the numbers. If you like, I was telling someone the other day that I would probably venture half of our clients don't even open their reports. We send them and I would love for them to look at it, but I bet you half of them don't. But they do know that we've done the work and we know what's in those reports and we know what the differences are. So when we come to that meeting and we say, okay, what's giving you heartburn? And you tell me operationally what's going on, I can almost always relate that to what's going on in your finances so that we can figure out what you need to do next.
That's important because when you have a partner and you said it, partner, like, okay, you have your spouse who's supporting you and saying, okay, like you've put everybody else first. Now it's time for you to find your way. But I think, and you just said this, I think having a partner, like especially your accountant. I mean, I always tell clients of mine, two most important people you need to hire, an accountant, a good accountant, and a lawyer. Like you need to have them on your team. And I think like partner, you have to make sure that you're partnering with the right person, somebody who aligns with your values, what you believe in, what you feel is important to your business. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. And that's where you end up finding accountants and working with accountant who they meet with you one time per year and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't help.
No. What would you say, and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what would you say your bigger mission is other than teaching people about numbers? What is that bigger mission for your business and for you?
Being a pebble in the pond is the best way for me to describe it. I love that by doing what we do, I am then helping law firms and therapists and people that are helping so many people stay in business, helping those people. And just the ripple effects of that it feels so good. And it's so much better than just being a cog in the wheel and increasing shareholder value when you're working in corporate. It's really just that rising tides, everybody helping each other and continuing to help. And the person you're helping is helping somebody else. And by just being this tiny little piece, it can have huge impacts on the rest of the world.
I think that's the first time I've ever heard someone describe it in that way.
Like that.
No, but I mean, like, even beyond that, like, you're in business to help other people be in business so they can help other people be in business.
Or just with life. Like, I couldn't be a therapist. I am definitely not trained to be one. But by helping that therapist put themselves first so they're not burning out, by making sure they're profitable and sustainable and scalable if they want to scale. Now I'm helping them help so many more people get what they need that I could never do.
So it's like exponential growth. It's like that exponential as in, it's not
Impact.
just you're helping, the exponential impact. Yes. So it's not just that you're helping your clients, but you're helping the people that your clients are helping. And then in turn, they're helping people. I love that. What do you think the hardest part was transitioning from corporate into the business that you're doing?
Mm, the leap of faith. And it
Mm,
never stops as a business owner, which is another part of why I love doing what I do. Because as an accountant, my first instinct, even when I started the business, was to map it out. What's the runway? How long can we do this before I have to go back to corporate? What is the fallback? What will we do if it doesn't work? How all of those components, none of them are certain, but it allows us to take an educated risk, but there's still a leap of faith. And that is the hardest part to do, is the leap.
mm. Why do you think that's the hardest part?
For me, because I hate not being in control. I think
It's a norm.
if I'm not in control of the situation and cannot foresee the outcome, it is not a comfortable space, but it is a space I have learned to be comfortable because it's inevitable in business. It's just constant.
How did you let go of the grip?
Again, educated risk. It's all about numbers for me. If I can make the numbers make sense, I can convince myself. But there are moments, and I will say when I hired my only right now, mini me, which is also where a lot of our clients find us when they're trying to hire a mini me, they've capped out as whatever they're doing. I hired before I was ready, but I
Mm,
knew she was going to be the right fit. And there's just this gut instinct that I feel like I would not have listened to in corporate, but I've learned to listen to as a business owner. And I encourage in our clients, if you've got that gut instinct, I'm never going to go against that, but I will help you figure out the numbers that either support or show you where we need to be careful.
hmm. So because figuring out the numbers is like so structure,
Yep.
and the gut instinct
Hmm.
is so the opposite. How do you get people to do both?
They don't do the numbers. They're not meant to. They're the business owner. They're meant to be the gut instinct and the
Mm,
visionary and tell me what that is so that we can go run those numbers and say, okay, this is where we could see potential problems. So what are our safety nets? Again, the auditor in me kicks in and I go straight to like risk awareness and how can we circumvent it? So we'll calculate it and we'll say a lot of times one of those biggest risks for almost any business owner is hiring someone. So it's how much cash do we have right now? How much do we have available? Do we have 3 months worth if they are not generating revenue in 3 months? Because that's not abnormal. If we're still trying to fill them up, they're not revenue generating for 3 months. Are we going to be okay? If we're not okay in the current scenario, are there things that we can sacrifice that you're willing in that gut instinct to sacrifice to get to this end result? And what are those things that we are willing temporarily to sacrifice? And it's all a big puzzle and a balancing act.
mm. How do you help your clients? Because there's a lot of fear around that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to work through that fear with them?
More than anything, it's that concrete set of numbers. When I can put it into a budget and a forecast and literally show them this is how much money is still left, even after you pay them. It may not be as much as you were making before, or it might be less than what we want. But as they gain in revenue, this is the trajectory it puts you on. And I always love telling them my favorite testimonial happened this year as a case study. And one of our clients that's been with us for, gosh, almost 5 years now,
Mm,
um, she worked all of 2024 trying to find that mini me. And hiring's hard. And we went through 3 different people. And we were with her every step of the way. We pivoted with her. We kept everything to where it wasn't losing money, but it may not be making the money we wanted it to make. She found that person at the end of 2024. Her profit, not just her revenue, her profit for 2025 Q1 equaled all of 2024
wow.
just by finding that right person. Because she
Wow.
was so overwhelmed and overloaded and had so much work that she couldn't get to.
So you think that finding now it's when you say mini me, are you saying like a COO? Somebody.
It could be a COO. For me, I'm thinking, so this was a law firm
Oh,
and
okay.
she was the attorney. She had paralegals, she had associates, or she had paralegals, she had legal assistants, reception, like all the things. But she didn't have another true attorney doing that work that she was doing. And when I say mini me, it's that doer that lets you
Gotcha.
become more of the business owner and less of the revenue center.
Gotcha. So is that where you bring in, like, that scenario that you were just talking about? Is that where you bring in your corporate audit, corporate risk, corporate experience into it?
It's more, so that is, I would say that's almost an offshoot or it's part of what happens because of the process. What we do with our brand new clients is go through a very specific, I call it our reveal framework. It's a 6-part framework that takes them from what's just basic bookkeeping to making sure, A, that their bookkeeping's good. We make sure their balance sheets are reconciled. If they don't have a good bookkeeper, we need to have that conversation. And we do some high-level benchmarking in the first part that lets them know where they stand in terms of their industry, their size, and where they're spending their money. And then we focus on their revenue. So we get an understanding of what is actually bringing money in. So many business owners, I've even had them $10 million business owners come in with a single line in their revenue that says sales in some way, shape, or form. No clue what's in it. It's just everything. So we figure out what's in there, but also what are those revenue generating costs and what are your profit margins? And especially when we're working with professional service-based businesses, we do what we call a capacity-based budget. So I want to know, who are all your revenue generating people? And how many hours can they work on client work? And if they were doing that work on that many hours, what would you bill them out at? And how far are we from that number with what you're doing right now? So we go through that piece. My team starts modeling a revenue budget based on where they are, but also where we want them to be and any seasonality that we've noticed in their business. And then we go over to their operating expenses. So everything below that profit, we want to know where you're spending money. And we put it in 3 easy buckets. It's either required, so cell phone, internet, can't run a business without those.
Sure you can.
You'd be really hard. You have what I like to call the personal perks. My favorite example to give is my kids are both teenagers. They are on my payroll. They don't add an ounce of value to this business, but they are a wonderful personal perk that I can take for taxes. And then everything else is an investment in your business. And we go vendor by vendor, unless it's like meals, but pretty much vendor by vendor. And we say, what are they doing? How is it adding time, money, or both back to your business? And if it's not, why are we spending it? Sometimes that means there's some personal perks that we hadn't accounted for that they just really like having. But a lot of times it can identify bolt-on systems and old subscriptions and people that are using multiple things for the same thing without realizing it. It also helps us get an understanding from a payroll perspective of how are some of these, what I like to say, non-revenue generating employees, your administrative people, are still revenue affiliated. What are they doing? What is their role in saving time or making money or helping others in the team save time or make money? How are they affiliated to that? And then again, my team will take all of that back and we work on a budget. So part 4 of our framework is building what we call a bottom-up budget. So we're going to go through all of the accounts and we're going to build it. And literally you'll have a line that says cell phone, $200, because we want to go over that bottom-up budget. Make sure it's meeting your goals and that we're not like running in the red or something. But also, and it's my favorite part when we present it, we do it out for the rest of the year. So then we can sit down with the business owner and say, is this where you want to be? If this isn't where you want to be, what do we want to start talking about now to change that? And layer in anything that might be one-offs for conferences or travel that weren't historically there. Then where the magic really happens, and my favorite part, is when the numbers start to tell a story. When you compare that expectation, that budget, to what's actually happening in the business for the first time, you get to see how you align with everything. The goal of a budget isn't to hit the budget.
Yeah.
It's to understand why.
Yeah.
When you understand why, you can either change your expectations, which is totally feasible, and especially in the volatile environment we seem to be in lately, it may be that you just have to change expectations and figure it out. or you have an opportunity to make a change in your business. And that's where the magic happens. And you get to know that right when it's happening. The month is closed, we're running the numbers, and then we're having the conversation that says, all right, so revenue came in a little lower than we wanted, but also, hey, your payroll was really high. Like, what happened? Those don't match. And have that conversation to make sure that everything's making sense. And then the very last piece that we do before, and I'll be honest, most of our clients go into a recurring where we're doing this with them monthly and checking in. The very last piece is cash flow. And we don't do cash flow statements. Most accountants I know don't like them, me included. And most business owners don't really understand them. So we do a cash flow forecast that is very similar to your budget. It's built on your budget, and it just layers in the timing components and the parts of cash that won't be in your budget. For example, everybody should have savings for taxes, because if you're working with us, we're making sure you're profitable, which means we're gonna have to pay. So we want to make sure that that's not a surprise, that there's a savings account set aside. I also want to make sure everyone's taking profit distributions, and that we are set up in a way that if things do go south, all of a sudden, you have a way to pivot. And that may be a line of credit. It might be a savings account. It might be a credit card that you know is unused, my least favorite option, but you need some access to something, because when something goes south, your brain is going to go into immediate, oh crud mode. And then you're going to need time to process and pivot. And if all you're doing is worrying about the bank account during that time, you are going to take the worst clients, the worst business decisions, anything you can do to get $1 in the bank account. But if you've got money, then you can give yourself some space and some grace to figure it out and do it in a way that's truly sustainable and good for you.
Right. And you're right. I mean, a lot of people, and I've seen it, especially recently, stuff happens and they're not fully prepared, and they start functioning in scarcity, and nothing good ever comes out of that.
No. And you don't have to have it. If you're listening to this and you're like, I don't have extra money, it doesn't have to be in cash. It doesn't have to be in savings. Go to a local credit union and ask about a line of credit. Credit unions are easier than banks, and a line of credit can go a really long way.
It is true. It is true. And I know, a lot of people, a lot of my clients, like I just had a conversation with somebody this morning where we were talking about, okay, like you need to look into a line of credit, or you need to look into, like, focus on setting up a high yield savings account, or, do these different things. And people just immediately they go to, well, what about a loan? And I'm like, well, no, that's a different story. So
create a safety net.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't, because I think you open up a business, most people open up a business, and it's just like revenue, and they don't think about the other things. So I think it's important. I mean, how many people, because you brought up having a savings account for taxes, do most people that you work with, do they have that?
Not at all. And I'm not going to lie. I love, if you've ever listened to or read Profit First, if you don't have a CFO in place, if you don't have a coach that's helping hold you accountable from a financial perspective, at a bare minimum, please go read that book and do some of those things, because it'll teach you to help hold yourself accountable. But the tax thing is just, I've seen so many people get burned by year end, and they hadn't paid their estimates all year. They haven't calculated or saved. And now they're like, where is this supposed to come from?
So, okay. So most people, going along with what you said, most people don't start that savings account. Most people, they've never read Profit First. So they don't understand these different things. So like, just give us what would 3 tips be for people to start creating that safety net for taxes, or for that emergency fund, or whatever it is? What would 3 of your top things that you would tell someone to do? What would they be?
So the very first one is not being afraid of your numbers. You have to look at them. You have to know what they are. And I know so many people can go a year and just submit them to their tax CPA and be done. So I would start there and say, while looking at your numbers, I also want you to think about your goals. So in that first layer, maybe your goal isn't to hit $1 million in revenue. Maybe your goal is to make enough profit to pay off all the student loans. Maybe your goal is to build a team. The goal that you have in mind is going to drive step 2. And step 2 is to quantify that goal into a budget. It does not have to be as complicated as I said with like the bottom up approach, but you've got to quantify those expectations. What does that goal look like for you in numbers? If it's easier for you, start with the next 3 months. What does it look like in the next 3 months? I'm more of a backwards person. I want to be like, what does it look like in 5 years? And in order to get there, what do I need to look like? Yes, I like to go long and come back in because it feels better to me. But figure out what that goal is and then map it out. And if the goal is big, then yeah, you might need to go 5 years. And what does that look like in numbers? And then because we're going to keep this simple, I don't want you to worry about cash flow. I just want you to focus on that budget piece. But in that budget, I want you to have profit and savings. Because that's absolutely critical. If you're not going to build any kind of cash flow, make sure you have profit. Because for those of you that are an S Corp and you're paying yourself on payroll, if you've never taken a profit distribution, you are losing all the tax benefits.
Wait, say that again?
Anyone who is an S Corp and they're paying themselves on payroll, but they've never actually taken a profit distribution, you're losing the whole benefit of being an S Corp. The benefit of an S Corp, and most of our clients, what we aim for is almost a 50-50 split between salary and profit distribution.
So you're saying profit distribution on top of payroll?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
For 2 reasons. Even if you're not in that S Corp model, I want you getting used to consistently paying yourself, because if you are the doer in your business, you will have to pay somebody else to be that doer. And I want you to have a profit distribution on the other side of it.
So whether you're an LLC or an S Corp,
I want you to pay yourself
most
consistently.
People, yeah, I was going to say, I don't think most entrepreneurs, I mean, none that I know of, are C Corps. I think
Not
it's
most that I know.
typically, yeah.
I've heard of a handful that are dabbling close to it, but you've got to be pulling some pretty significant numbers for that to work.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so if you're an LLC, I want you paying yourself consistently. I know it won't be in payroll, but take a consistent amount of money out of your business. It will get you used to that process.
As a distribution.
Yes.
Gotcha.
If you are an S Corp, I want you to take your payroll and I want you to take profit distributions on top. And as always, I am not your tax advisor. Talk to your tax person. But the recommendation that I've always seen from other tax CPAs with our clients is aiming for a 50-50 split, as long as that gives you a reasonable salary for what you're doing in your business field.
Definitely something that most people don't think of.
But that's the kind of things we get to when I'm like, ooh, let's play with your books. And I'm like, where's your profit distribution? So if you're going to, we're going to assume all of you are going to do this. You're going to set your goals and you're going to go quantify those into a budget. Whatever kind of budget feels good to you, give it numbers: revenue, cost of revenue, operating expenses. Even if that's the basic that you put in, I want you to also include savings and profit distribution. Then I want you to take those numbers, and the very first month after you actually put them down on paper, I want you to compare them to what you actually did last month.
Okay. So we're going to build our budget. And we're going to put our revenue, we're going to put our expenses, we're going to put our savings, and we're going to put our profit on there.
Not profit, but profit distribution.
Profit distribution.
The money we're going to take.
Yes. Okay. So we're putting that on our budget. So everybody who's listening, this is an action step for us. So we're going to put that on our budget, and then we're going to compare it to what we did
last month. And where it's different, that's okay. I want everybody to realize it's meant to be different. It will be different. Figure out why it's different.
All right. So everybody needs to know that no matter what it comes up as, it's okay.
Yes.
But the bigger thing is, because numbers are numbers are numbers. The bigger thing is, and you said it multiple times, is, and this is the question that we all need to ask ourselves, why? Understanding the why behind these numbers.
Yep.
And that's when you start to demystify the whole accounting and finance process.
And you
Is to
take that
understand.
control. If you
Yeah,
understand why, you are now in control of what to do with it.
right. That's powerful. I think most people, I think that's probably a huge aha moment in this episode for people, is to say, hey, you know what? I can have control over this. I just need to understand what these numbers mean,
Mm-hmm.
which is where they normally shy away. I mean, I have a client, she's over in Malaysia, and she is trying so hard to get her accountant to work with her on some of this stuff. And she just runs into roadblocks all the time. So we've been, and lucky for her, she has someone who's been helping her to
Yeah.
understand these things. But she even said, prior, she said, I didn't really know what this, she's someone who inherited, her father had a business,
Aw.
he passed away, and she inherited it. And she was like, I don't really know like how to run this, but like I want to learn. So
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing for her was just learning why certain things are the way that they are, so that she may not understand all of the ins and outs of these numbers and stuff, but she at least understands why things are the way that they are, or exactly what she's looking at.
Yeah. You don't
Most
have to
people,
do accounting. You don't have to understand
no,
accounting. You don't need to know accounting. That's not your job as the business owner. But you
right.
do need to know if things are hitting expectation or not. And when they
Yeah.
are or aren't, you need to know why.
Yeah. And not be afraid to ask.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
Ask your
clarity is,
bookkeeper, ask your accountant, ask your tax person, ask everybody involved in those numbers that's supposed to know it. And if they can't explain it to you in plain English in a way that you can use, find somebody else. Because if you can't use the information, it's not helpful.
yeah. Wow. That's good. That's good. So do you actually do the bookkeeping for people, or?
We do not actually do bookkeeping or taxes, which is kind of funny. When I started this, everybody was like, you have to do the bookkeeping. That's the entry point for CFO work. And I was like, I have no desire to do bookkeeping.
Don't blame you.
So we have phenomenal bookkeeping referral partners and tax referral partners, which has also allowed me to kind of fuel that relationship side of business. I get to go make lots of friends, and we work that way.
Good. Nice. So I'm going to switch gears a moment here. What does the next 5 years, or what does your business look like 5 years from now?
Oh,
Like, what are you moving towards?
I am we're always aiming to make this as accessible as possible. And right now, the most accessible we've been able to get is a strategy call. And I've realized I'm not a fan of building a course, but I want to find a way to build a course for other bookkeepers that helps bridge the gap between people that are ready to afford a fractional CFO and helping educate bookkeepers so they can get them there without having to go all the way into the fractional CFO work. Because I learned in dabbling with courses that people do not want to do this themselves. I can give you the how all day long, and you're probably not going to do it. But bookkeepers will, because they like the numbers. So my goal in the next 5 years is to have something we can offer to our bookkeeping partners that allows them to help bridge that gap until somebody is really, truly ready to bring on the financial commitment of a monthly CFO.
Interesting. I like that. And you're right. A lot of people don't want to do this themselves. That is true. That is very, very true. Just based on what you were saying, with the rise in AI,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody talking about AI, and QuickBooks has an AI piece or is coming out of it, like, how does that impact what you're doing?
So There's a huge impact. I'm not going to lie. There's AI tools in all of the tools that we use, and we love using them. But I will say, as of now, AI cannot account for the human element and the context of who our clients are as people and what they need. So even as and I'm not going to lie, I love ChatGPT, and I literally was playing in it this week, and I was like, how can we be more efficient, and where could we put some check figures and automations and, all the things that all of us do in our business. And it was like, it asked me, what is like one of your non-negotiables? And I said, we cannot remove the accountant from the situation because they're the ones that actually know the client. I do not want to provide cookie cutter answers to anybody because it doesn't fit. We are here to be customized for that client. So there are a lot of AIs out there that can run your numbers and tell you from an accounting technological perspective why they're different or why they went up or down. And they can tell you what that means for a business owner, but they can't tell you what it means for your business and you.
Yeah, it doesn't have the human, it can't feel, it doesn't have the emotion, it doesn't have that human connection, which is something that I talk about a lot. That AI is great and it helps us be more efficient, but it cannot replace a human being. It can enhance it, enhance the connection, but cannot replace. So, because I know a lot of people, I've seen a lot of articles and people who are doing workshops where they're saying, "Oh yeah, use AI to analyze your numbers and analyze your business." And
but that goes back to when we started this conversation, and I told you half of our clients don't even look at the reports. I mean, we run all of those numbers, and between AI and the team, we explain everything. Half of our clients don't want that. That's not what they want out of this. They want to know that we've looked at that and now we can give them answers.
So good. So good. This has been an extraordinary conversation. And I think that, there were so many gold nuggets and insights throughout this entire conversation on things that, again, most people just want to be like an ostrich and stick their head in the sand. But, I think a key thing is understanding, and it's no different than understanding why you're doing your business or why you're doing what you do in your business, is understanding the why behind stuff.
Yeah.
That really has nothing to do with numbers.
No, you could literally say it's setting a goal and figuring out if you're hitting it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I have 2 questions for you before I let you go. I have 2 questions for you. So the first one is, what is something interesting and unique about you that most people don't know?
Ooh. I actually a lot of people will know this hopefully soon. I actually just did an interview for an article that'll come out, and we were talking about family and personal. My youngest, my 13-year-old, is what they call an IUD baby. And I had her with an IUD fully in place until she was born. And she is my little miracle child, my fighter, through and through.
Oh, wow. How does that happen?
I could not tell you how, but I can tell you on the other side of it, I trusted nothing and told my husband it's his problem to resolve.
Oh my gosh. That's amazing. You'll have to keep us posted where that article's going to be. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Second question. What is your big dream?
Honestly, a house on a whole bunch of acreage surrounded by all of my family, almost compound style, with all the little fainting goats and fun things, and just being able to turn life off when I want to.
Would you be working or no?
A little bit, but it wouldn't be required.
Okay. Gotcha. Reminds me, I don't think he has a compound style, but he's got all kinds of animals in a farm, is Clarkson's Farm.
Yes, I love
Jeremy
watching
Clarkson. That. Oh, so good. My husband and I
want my
binge
kids to
watched
have a
it.
house, so they're close by. Just
Yeah.
everybody I love, all on some land,
Like an estate.
quiet and peaceful.
Yeah, like an estate with all like
Yes.
how they have the different houses on the estate. Awesome. Well, Danielle, this was an amazing conversation. If you haven't figured this out, amazing is like my favorite word to use. But this was an amazing conversation, and I'm so glad that we were able to finally get you on here after I had a crazy travel schedule. But so who is your ideal client, by the way?
We work with a lot of law firms, but we also work in general with professional service based businesses. And if you heard me talking about capacity and people and that revenue side of it, you're in that ideal client space. When your people are your revenue generating piece, we love working there because there is so much we can do to help change compensation, hire different people, change rate. Like there is so much magic to happen there that it makes it really fun for us.
Gotcha. And how can people, oh, you do have a free gift for the audience. Am I
I
correct?
do. We're going to have a website set up just for you guys. It'll be four corners, the number, cfo.com/C-suite mentor. No spaces, no dashes. And then on there, I'm going to have our Reveal Your Path to Profit, which is that 6-part framework I talked about. We have a
Mm,
workbook that will walk you through doing that for yourself at a very high DIY level. I know we said most people don't like doing this for themselves, but I promise the workbook's pretty easy.
awesome. By the way, are you a certified profit first person?
I am not. I'm a huge fan, but not a certified profit first person.
Gotcha. Okay. Just curious. Just curious.
There are some elements once you have a CFO on board that I don't fully agree with. I don't like having a million bank accounts,
Mm,
but I am a huge fan of the tone and intent. And if you're not ready for a CFO, it's got so much magic in there.
great stuff in it. Yeah. My mentor, Mel Abraham, he just wrote Building Your Profit Machine. I was going to
Ooh,
say building your
I'm writing that one down.
yeah, building your profit machine. You got to wait, that's wrong. That's wrong. Building your money machine.
Love it.
Sorry, Mel, if you're listening to this, I'm giving out the wrong name. But he's got the money machine blueprint. Like he's got a lot of free
Mm,
tools and stuff. So definitely check him out. Mel Abraham.
yeah.
It's a great book. But he has some things. I mean, he knows Mike Mihalowicz from Profit First, and but he's got some of his own concepts and
Nuances of
methodologies and
things.
stuff. Yeah, yeah. So definitely check that book out. Like shameless plug here for him.
Oh,
So
absolutely. I wrote it down.
all right. So how can everybody find you and connect with you out on the interweb?
So, website, like I said, finding that landing page will give you a lot of different options. But my social media of choice is LinkedIn. We don't do a ton on the company page, but my personal page under Danielle Hendon, we tend to post a lot. We love connecting with people there. And I'm trying to get better at engaging with everyone.
I know it's a lot. And when you're like flooded with pitches and people trying to sell you stuff, it is hard. It
It's a
is
lot.
hard. Yeah. Well, Danielle, thank you so much for joining me. In a time when the world is just so full of negativity and just like heaviness right now and
Yes.
just so much challenge. That's why I wore my Bring the Joy. It was just so nice to have. I mean, first of all, you're such a cheerful person with just such an amazing smile. It was
Thank
just so
you.
nice to have such a light conversation and one that truly will help people. And I hope everybody listened when Danielle said that the deeper mission of her business has more to do with what she does, just what she does with people, but how that then has that ripple effect and goes out into the world. I believe the same thing, which is in alignment with us, where if we can change what happens on the inside of our business, we can shift what happens outside. So I hope everybody listened to what she said and we all take that into account as we move out into the world and as we navigate everything that we're navigating right now. So thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. It is an honor to have you on. And everybody, thank you so much for listening and for watching on YouTube if you're watching. And we will see you again here next week. Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. If you found value on this show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me. Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.